All right, hello and welcome to the November meeting for GEG Iowa. If this is your first time joining us, thank you. And you can find our website and everything that you need to connect with us and follow along with our monthly agenda and all of that at our website, which is on the screen for you. It is bit.ly/GEG-Iowa. GEG and the I of Iowa are capitalized. That will take you to our website, which is very simple. The homepage has the basics. It tells you, let me pull that up here for you. Maybe if it wants to cooperate. Where is monitor 2? Sorry, it's been a long day. Okay, there we go. So our website has a homepage, basic information about the group. It's got information on when we meet. It's got our agendas and all of that. And then it's got information on how you can connect with us, which two main ways. We have a discussion board, which is simply a Google group email distribution group. And then with our monthly meetings, which are live on YouTube. It is generally the third Wednesday of every month from 7 to 8 p.m. on this same live feed. So we will be here next month on, I think it's December 19th. We will talk about that in a little bit here. So if you're on our website, the easiest way to get to our agenda is if you go to events. It'll tell you when the next meeting is, since today is our meeting. That's the top part. And then right below that is the link to the agenda, the Google Docs agenda. If you click on that, it'll take you to the agenda. This is a running document for the entire school year. It's actually a running document for all the agendas that we have done for GEG Iowa. Everything is clickable. The first part of it has information about the group, how you can connect with us, all of that stuff, which I've kind of already talked about. The second part has our monthly agendas. How this generally works is I will generally every month share 3 resources of things I've been using lately. I always try to give some examples and some general resources that will help you learn more about it if it's fresh to you and stuff like that. And then I generally end with a bonus resource, which is usually like a game or enrichment or just random cool sites is actually one of the ones that we're doing today. So let's dive right in. Before we do, looking at this section before that, we can talk a little bit about me, about the group. My name is Whitney Bacon. I have been running GEG Iowa now for, I think, 2.5 years. And I have over 10 years of teaching experience, 3.5 years in the current job that I am in. And I am an educational technology specialist for the Iowa Educational Services for the Blind and Visually Impaired. I work with our staff on anything tech related. So in my role as educational technology specialist, I have lots and lots of times to play with technology. And so a lot of the resources that I bring up in GEG Iowa are based on things that I have used frequently for work, and almost all of them are through the lens thinking about, is this accessible for a large majority of people, students, children, adults as well, since I work with all of our teachers. And I try to always think about it through the lens of universal design. And so let's kind of talk about what we are going to look at today. So something that I haven't really dived into in GEG Iowa is how much I love spreadsheets. I am a spreadsheet freak. And I have recently been using a lot of what's known as Google App Scripts to do cool stuff in Google Sheets. So if you are very, very new and a beginner to Google Sheets, this might be a little above like what you're interested in. I will probably do some more beginner stuff next month or the following month. But today I'm going to go through 3 scripts that I have been using a lot lately. And they are very beginner friendly. And in our agenda, have samples that are left like in, what do you call it? Like a template form. And it tells you exactly what you would change about it. But I'm going to also show you guys the examples and kind of how I use them. So I'm going to talk about 3 different scripts that I have been using a lot lately. And I will also say this does not require you having any coding knowledge. I have 0 coding knowledge. I would love to learn how to code in the future, but I have been using a lot of various resources, but I actually use AI to help me think about, okay, I want to do this in Google Sheets. How could I do this? And I have it teach me how to do it. So let's look at this first example, which I call edit form responses. And I will give you an example and I will show you the example and walk you through it. Essentially, the whole point of this script, and this one is for Google Forms and Google Sheets, the connection between the 2 of them. Let me open it for you here. But essentially, I have, and everything I'm showing today, I have like stripped student data and teacher data, and I've just like essentially replicated it all with basic information. There is no confidential information included here. So all of it right here is sample. So essentially, how I've used this first one is the big way that we used it was that there was a lot of conferences that we were setting up. We have a spring conference every year, and we needed people to sign up for courses, but then after submission, occasionally we would get updates, and we do have it enabled that the person can go in and update it themselves, but it's much easier for us, the form editor, to edit it ourselves. So essentially, people would go in, so I'm going to actually take this sample form, which I did link on the agenda. If you look at, we've got sample script, which I'll explain that. I would not recommend opening that yet. That's if you're going to end up using this and modify it for your needs. But if you look at the sample form, it will take you to just this bare bones if you want to submit a entry, because then we're going to use a script with it. So I'm just going to do a demo. So let's just say demo, I'm just making a fake one. Demo name, demo district, building. I could do more specific, but that's fine. These are actual names of the courses that we originally did, but that's not confidential, so that part's fine. Okay, so I'm going to submit it, and then I'm going to show you what the whole point of this script is and how it's relevant. Okay, so the entry that I just put in here is this guy right here, which I'm going to zoom in for you guys. Okay, so I just put this in, and the whole point of this particular script is that it will generate the link for you as the person who owns the form to go in and modify that person's response. So like, it's maybe hard to see because I filled it out and I am the owner, but I filled it out on a different account. So the whole point is, say this demo entry that I just put in was made by this teacher who is outside of your school, and they are registering for whatever it is, and you just need to change one thing about whatever they entered. So I'm going to go in here, and I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to modify it. Okay, so it pulls up everything that person originally entered, and then I can modify whatever I want, and it will tell me what was modified too. It'll also warn you that you're editing the response. And if you were to share this URL with someone else, like with that person, they would be able to edit it themselves as well. So let's change this from demo name. Let's just do some real, like, fake names. Let's just say Bill Shakespeare. And then we'll say I worked for Burlington at one point. Let's go with that. And then we'll leave that other stuff as is. But then I'll change it from functional vision to orientation and mobility. And then I'll change it from early childhood to, let's go with elementary math. And then I will leave the last one the same. So after I submit that and I go back to my form, it's going to be kind of hard to see that things changed. But I, as someone who has used this multiple times, am able to tell that the ones that have been updated are these ones that have a little, dog ear on the top. So it went from, I think I just had demo name to Bill Shakespeare. Or like with this one, it went from demo district to Burlington. And with these, it has that I updated this. So that is this first script. It's very simple of like what it does. I'm not going to actually like walk you through building the script, but if you essentially, like, anytime you're in Google Sheets or any of the Google stuff, you can do scripts. Okay, it's just coding. So in Google Sheets, all you would do is go to extensions, apps, script, and then you'll see the code that I have in here. It, like, if you have zero experience with coding like I did, it's going to seem very intimidating, but if you are interested, where did that go? Okay, the first link is the actual script, which all you need about it is to copy this. So you would copy this code in to where I just showed you of this. So like it would probably be blank first, but yeah, I would just come in here and I would paste in that stuff. And it tells you exactly what you need to do step by step. And again, I didn't really write any of this. I asked Copilot, I think is who I asked to help me with it. I told it, hey, this is what I want to do with my spreadsheet. What are my options? And it gave me an option, and then some parts of it like would work, some parts of it would not. And then I would just ask AI, oh, like this isn't working. What's wrong? I'm a big proponent of using AI to help you with your day-to-day life, making things a lot easier. So that is that part. Again, it is kind of like the whole point of showing this is just to kind of like wet your whistle to get you interested in this kind of stuff. It's not to teach you how to actually completely implement this right now. If you want to learn more about any of these app scripts, you can ask. There's also a lot of different resources that I'll share at the end that will help you learn a little more about them. So that is editing responses. One major thing I just want to say, and it warns people at the top, is that you have to, did I not add it to this one? I thought I did. Something about editing. Must be added to the Google Sheet. One thing, like if you were to use this actual one, is that, where is it? One sec. You have to make sure the major setting that you need to have on is that you allow them to edit, because if this is not on, the code's not going to work. So that is editing responses. And then I don't think I have any questions at the moment. So let's talk about copy formatting. This one is a lot simpler. And just like the last time, I have a link to the actual code that I'm going to kind of like give you an overview of. I have an example form. So essentially all this is, for those of you that do lots of forms and then you have to look through a lot of different responses, one thing that has really bothered me for years about like reviewing responses is that Google Sheets does not have a way, like I am someone who likes to format things. So I like to use specific colors. I like to use specific fonts, stuff like that. For some reason, anytime you submit something with Google Forms, it always defaults to the very default. And there isn't a true built-in way to change your default. So let's see what I'm talking about when I submit a new one, or you could submit a sample with that link here that says sample form. So I'm going to submit something. And how about I'm going to split these screens so you can kind of see when it first, oops, I didn't want to do that. When it first comes in, stop, come on, computer. Oh my Lord. No, I don't want to split it into 4. I want to split it into 2. Oh my Lord. Okay, there we go. Okay, so when I first do this entry, it is going to default to like, I think it is Arial 10 or something. And then because I have this code set up in the background, it's going to take like 5 or 6 seconds, and then it will reformat to my desired format. So let's do sample. How about, because we are live, I'll do something that sticks out instead of just sample. Okay, so let's just put my name. Okay, Whitney Bacon, and then let's do other, and we'll say, let's just pretend I'm the superintendent. Okay, and then let's go with, they go here, and then did you work with the ed tech specialist? Okay, let's go almost daily. Okay, so as soon as I hit submit, you guys are going to notice that it will initially come in not formatted, and then about 3 or 4 seconds later, it will fix the formatting. So if you notice, and like I'm not fast enough to show you before it reformats, but it came in very small. Let me show you again, and then just watch over here. Line 9 is going to, for like 2 seconds, be small. Let's do, I don't know, let's say Whitney Houston this time. Okay, how about I will do no this time, and then ready, set. Okay, so small, and then reformats. This maybe like may not seem like very important, or like that, like that's if you do not actually use lots of Google Forms and stuff like that. But I use lots of Google Forms. I use lots of Google Sheets. And it annoys me so much that it constantly defaults to that. And this is specifically formatting wise. So like it can copy anything. Like essentially all this script is doing is it's telling it every time a new line is added, as soon as that new line is added, check the line above it and copy the line above its format. So like say, for example, I've had this mistake sometimes where I actually put strike throughs sometimes through my stuff. If that is like that, the next one that comes through, it's actually going to copy with the strike through. So let's just do strike through example. It will not initially, but there you go. So it did a strike through. Or if I only have a strike through, and it's not like permanent, you can obviously change it. But say I have these two are strike throughs. Say these guys are highlighted in yellow. Say I change this from orange to, I don't know, something purple. How about that? Okay. And then we submit a new one. I'll just go back to sample. Make it simple. Yeah, so I in particular have been using this one a lot because I send surveys to our staff all the time. And then I have to read through lots and lots of data. And it's helpful for, I like to have, in this example, it's like I like to have their name a certain color. I like to have it automatically color certain questions. If it's yes, I want it to color it green. If it's no, I want to color it red. I want it to, like, when it rates these, I want it to do it on a gradient, which all of that is possible with conditional formatting. However, again, with a form, you will sometimes only be able to do the conditional formatting with what currently exists. Once you have new data, you can force it to do that with this code. So let's enter this in. Okay. There we go. So this time, notice it copied that. So, and same thing with this, like, all I really did is I initially started researching online, seeing, is there some kind of way to force Google Sheets to keep the format of whatever you pick? And the best thing I found was creating a script for it. One thing I will say about a lot of scripts of all the experience that I've done is I have not found lots of like websites that are really good at specifically laying out each script, which is where it's been wonderful that AI has been so helpful for this, because oftentimes I will possibly find like a starter for a script. So let me show you this script, which I think I already have it open. So remember, if you're going to do a script in Google Sheets, you go to Extensions, Apps, Scripts, and then if it's the first one you've ever done for that project, it'll be blank, but then you can just throw in whatever it is. And the one that I have attached in the agenda, if you click on this sample script, this is a good starter. You guys can just copy it, and then there are notes telling you what to do. So it'll give you notes about, oh, you should replace this with this, different stuff like that. And if for whatever reason the like sample does not work, you can always, as an example here, like you could always copy this entire script. That's what I do often into AI. So like say I open Copilot. I guess it expired. Oh, I don't want to do this right now. Fine, let's just go to Gemini, since I'm already logged into Gemini. So I can say, you know, I'm getting an error message. I'm just using this as an example. An error message for this script. Can you look through it and tell me what I might need to fix? And then I would paste in there. I'm hoping this, like, since I straight up copied this from the one that I've already been using, there shouldn't be an issue. But that is how I use a lot of this stuff. Or like if you're still in the brainstorming mode, you could just ask it to help you get some ideas. So when I first started this particular project, I said something along the lines of, I'm looking to create a Google Apps script to that will automatically apply the style formatting, we'll go with that, the style formatting of the previous row to a new row. And then I know, or maybe I'll say, what script should I start with? And then let's see what it actually comes up with. So yeah, it'll literally give you a basic script, and then I literally just copy it, throw it in there. You will then have to, like, if you're not quite sure how, like, what to do, you can also ask it, where I have never done a app script before. Can you walk me through it? So you can like say you don't know the process of setting this up, because you're also going to have to like verify it and stuff like that. AI can walk you through it. I literally a year and a half ago, knew nothing about app scripts, and I am not an expert at them, but I have been able to do a lot with spreadsheets because I have used this as an assistant. So it's great as an assistant. So that is copy formatting. Okay, let's talk about my last example. This one was actually used on the same survey that I talked about earlier, where I don't know how many of you guys, again, use lots of spreadsheets. I use lots of spreadsheets. With spreadsheets, they often very quickly become overwhelming, lots of columns. And so I kept going back and forth on this spreadsheet that had so many columns. And in my role, I talked about like the survey that I send out for staff, and there's like certain columns that I only was looking at for planning a particular webinar, a particular web workshop. And so I was like, I don't even honestly want to see all this other stuff right now. I can deal with it later. And so I asked AI to help me, like, what can I do so that I can very quickly hide lots of columns without deleting them all in one go. And so this script, the whole point of this script is it will, with one button, it will hide whatever columns that you ask it to. And then when you want to unhide them, or say you want to switch to something else, then it will make them reappear. So let me show you an example, and you will kind of see how this works, which I think for this one, I want to say that I have the real... Where did I put this? No, I think I did. Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure, because I didn't want to share my real data with you guys. So I made a copy of the real data and got rid of all confidential information. But this is a slightly modified version of that quarterly survey that I send out to staff. So essentially, all this script does is that it will add a custom button to your toolbar. So in my toolbar, there is this one that says column toggle. And because I was trying to plan a PD session, and like specifically it was only targeting a couple different columns, whenever I was wanting to like analyze the stuff that was coming in from staff, I could come to column toggle and then do PD prep focus. It takes a second to run it. Okay, and then I think it already did it, which may not be obvious because I think I was maybe too far zoomed in. Oh yeah, I forgot that I've zoomed in a lot. Let's reset this first so you can see the difference. Reset columns. Okay. So I think, okay, yeah. So currently this has everything visible. And as I was saying, like at one point I was trying to, I think this was when I was trying to plan a workshop about dynamics for work, and it was like I collected a bunch of other information and I didn't need to focus on that information right now. For instance, I always try to collect availability, which I have calculations set up to like calculate all that, so I don't actually need to see any of that. And so when I do the PD prep, it hides these columns, it hides some of the other columns, it hides the columns that were not relating to the particular PD that I was studying or that I was getting ready. So I'm going to do this right now. It shows everything from columns A to AS. When I do column toggle, it is going to get rid of lots of it. Okay, yeah, so right now it has hidden a lot of the stuff. So if you look here, I don't know why it's not showing me name. That's something that is oh, there we go. Okay. So it's hiding A, and then it's hiding like C through M, because if I unhide C through M, this is a bunch of stuff that I did not need to see. So let me just rehide that. And then for the purposes of what I was prepping, these were the only columns that I actually needed to see. And so if you were to use a script like this, the script is attached. So I've got a sample script of what you would copy in. And then there are instructions in here of what you would need to change. Because essentially all it's doing is saying that when I do this button, I want you to only show these columns. So in this example, my button for, I think the first button is PD prep. It will show column 2 and then da-da-da-da-da. And so when I look at the example here, we've got column 2, which is B. And then I think the first one was 21, maybe? No, 13. So column M, 13, 14. Yeah, so say I instead, let's reset this. And you can also do like multiple buttons. Multiple options. So I only did these 2, but say I only wanted to see column B and column F, you could set that in the code that you have a button and say, because here's another example. There was lots of times when I would send out calendar invites, and then every time I get a response to those calendar invites, all I need to see is that person's name and a column that I have devoted to the RSVP status. So when I click that, it literally only shows column B, their name, and column AR, the status, because then once I get like a new one, then I can add it here. Sample name 7, and then I can say tentative. So that is just another random thing that I do, but then I could do reset. And this little warning of columns reset, all columns are now visible, that message is not necessary. I think when I actually was getting ideas of how I should like create the template version of this for you guys, it just added that. So but that can get removed from the code. Like I think that's actually just in here. What was that called? It was reset. There's probably a warning. Say it doesn't matter. I don't know why we're looking at it right now. Okay. But yeah, so that is column toggle. So that's just like another way that I've used it today. I mean, I talked about 3 different Google Sheets ones, just because Google Sheets is the type of scripts that I have messed with the most. But you can also do this with Google Forms. You can do it with Google Docs. I have never actually done with Google Docs. I just haven't had a need to yet. A lot of times what happens is I like realize there is something that I could do, but I don't know how to do it. And I don't know whether it's a feature that Google already has. Often it's, I just ask AI like, hey, does Google already have this feature like built in? And then sometimes it'll be like, oh yeah, you just go to tools and this. And then sometimes it doesn't, and it's like, oh, well, maybe you should write an app script to do that function. And so that is how I end up doing a lot of these. Or like in Forms, another one that I have built in Forms is so that like once it reaches a certain date and time, it just will automatically turn off the form. Or you can really make it do anything. You can have it so that like once you have X amount of responses, it turns off, stuff like that. So that is the gist of what I was sharing today. Then I also have a couple different resources. These are all just how you can learn more about different app scripts and just Google Sheets in general. The first one is Ben Collins. He is my favorite like blogger or educational dude who does a lot of Google Sheets magic. He's my favorite. And then he also has an actually completely free introduction to Google Apps scripts. I have not taken it, but like, because I didn't know that he had it when I was brand spanking new, but maybe I will. But I think I'm a little further. But I would highly recommend that. If you are interested in learning more about app scripts, he is much better at explaining this kind of stuff than I am. Another resource I have on here is just another great Google Sheets one, and they have information about app scripts as well. But a lot of times when I don't know how to do something in Google Sheets, or Excel, they have both Excel and Google Sheets in here, and I believe Ben does as well. But say I want to, I don't know, maybe I want to learn more about a particular formula, I could just straight up search formula, and there's lots of articles. They also have a lot of like step-by-step things. I believe when I literally was first learning about apps scripts, I came to this website and started very basic here. And then this one is a spreadsheet that a fellow EdTech person shared when I went to one of their sessions at some conference last year. It was NeoTech 25, which is a Northeastern Ohio conference. And so, yeah, he has just a list of functions. He has examples about them. And I think these are all, websites of how to learn more about them. So those are some resources to check out. And then if I don't have, it doesn't look like I've got any like comments, questions, stuff like that. And so if so, we will move on to my bonus, which if this is the first time joining us, I always try to end on some kind of like enrichment game or something, but I have been absolutely slammed this last month, last couple weeks, and I was gone last week. And so I did not find a game for you guys. However, I did find a Reddit post that I wanted to share that has lots of websites to check out. So I'm just sharing this post that has what's the most powerful, useful underground website that most people don't know about. So it's an ongoing thread that a lot of people have shared great websites. Always exercise caution. You'll hopefully know a lot of these. Some of them that are on here are my favorites, like Canopy is one of my favorite websites. But yeah, so that is worth checking out. There's a lot of like free ebook websites. And that is really it for tonight. We're probably just going to end it early because I've had a 13-hour day since my first meeting was at 7. I guess 12 hours. But yeah. Okay. Well, we are meeting next on December 17th at 7 o'clock. And then after that, we'll be meeting on January 21st. So I hope to see you guys next time. Otherwise, you have a really good day. All right. Bye-bye.